We are at the Amherst kitchen table. Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hameed, Mr. Universe for our kitchen table astronomy, and we're both still reeling from path of totality, total eclipse of the heart. I publicly thanked Khalees for saying, hey, don't go, we shouldn't go to Springfield on that day. We should experience this. But also, you have been encouraging me since 2017, when the last eclipse happened and we were not in the path of totality here, to make plans to go. And even though the plans were last minute, you were absolutely correct.
Look, I'm going to say a few things, that my next few words are going to be harsh.
Okay.
But I have to say this. And because I'm still meeting people who say, you know, it was pretty good, 95% that was here. It was pretty good. It was quite amazing.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this. I cannot. I don't want to. I'm not a mean person. Monty, you've known me for a while.
I know.
I'm not that mean. I can be mean, but not that mean. But I have to say, that 5%, I mean, it is really different. If you get a chance to see the total eclipse, see it, because it is life-changing. I mean, I think, I mean, as you said, I mean, reeling in a positive way, yeah, we are still thinking about it because it is really incredible.
I mean, as evidenced by the multiple times I've played the clip on the air, when the totality hits in the audio that I played, you hear a woman in the background scream bloody murder. Yeah. And then we all just started screaming. It was a reaction like I could not have anticipated.
We were next to the lake. There were probably a few thousand people there, more. I don't know how many people were there. And it was warm and that weather was just perfect. It was not too cold, not too warm. So again, in Vermont, northern Vermont, and as soon as the sun went away, it got really cold.
Yeah.
Very quickly. That was weird.
We didn't notice that. Actually, Enzo was keeping an eye on his phone's thermometer, and it didn't change at all. Maybe it just didn't update quick enough, or I don't know. But
we were also on well, you guys were on the lake too. So
well, no, we were in the town common.
I see. So we were just suddenly put a jacket on and stuff like that. But this was about 3.5 minutes, and it was, you had plenty of time to really think about it. The sun's corona that became visible, so that's when the moon really covers the sun. Then you have the halo around the sun.
So those wispy things that were gases is the corona.
That's right, and you normally don't see it because the sunlight is there, but when it blocks it, that's when you can see the corona, and it's beautiful. But for me, one really surprising thing, which I didn't expect, was, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but there was a red line.
We started freaking out. We were like, that's a solar flare, it's a solar flare!
Well, it's a prominence, so these are these solar arches, which are from where the flares oftentimes comes from. These are like huge. So
okay, so it wasn't a solar flare.
It wasn't exactly a solar flare. These are, you can think of plasma from the sun being trapped in these magnetic fields around the sun. So if you have, so there are these telescopes called H-alpha telescopes that can look at this particular light that you can see actually if you are looking in this H-alpha telescopes. In this particular case, again, they're not as bright to see when the sun is out, but if the sun gets blocked, you see that, and the light emits red color.
Yeah.
That's the reason it just looked like a red line over there.
It was cool. It looked like fuchsia. It was very like kind of weird, kind of pinkish red.
And that was a total surprise. I mean, one of the other things is that sun goes through a cycle of more activity and less activity, and that's about an 11-year cycle. Right now, sun is going through an active phase compared to last time, and so this is one of the reasons why we were able to see that potentially. I mean, usually you can see prominences other times too, but this was a completely unexpected and spooky.
Yeah.
But apart from everything else, I mean, a lot of people have been asking, did you take pictures and other things? And we really didn't.
Yeah.
And this is one of those instances. I mean, I didn't know if you're going to ask me about that question or not. There are the picture. I don't regret it. I mean,
no, I don't. I know you well enough to know you wouldn't waste the time to take. NASA's going to take some great pictures. I saw some incredible NASA photos. I saw some incredible actual professional photographers' photos too. My silly little iPhone ain't going to do crap. I want to look at this with my own eyes.
Just experience it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is something, again, it goes back to this thing that one of the things is that you are as a group. So that was also good. 2017, we watched it with a few people because we were out on the road chasing clear skies, and so wherever the time was clear, like, you know, and we just stopped in a parking lot and observed it. Here, seeing with so many people, that was an incredible experience. If you think about it, these things have been happening for billions of years, and we still get amazed at it because this is something we are being connected with something right there happening in the sky. Something very strange because it does get dark. You do see stars. You did see Venus that appeared.
I saw that immediately. It blew my mind. I didn't even remember that was going to happen.
And many other stars that appeared over there. It gets dark, and then it's over. I mean, suddenly it's like back to normal.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It is incredible. It is visceral. It is experiential. So, and that just stays with you.
Now, I have heard tell Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hameed, Mr. Universe, that if you're watching the sunset on a clear night, like say over the ocean, that right as the sun goes down over the horizon, all of the visible light spectrum will be seen very rapidly, but red, you know, Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, blue, violet. Did that happen during the eclipse? Could it have happened? Did I imagine it? Because what it felt like was some sunset orient, like different colors apart from that thing you're now calling, that I know is called a prominence, not a solar flare, that was fuchsia. I felt like I saw all these other colors at like the very last second of the totality.
I mean, it's possible as the sun was coming out. So you did see potentially that ring-like feature, because as the sun just starts to come out, it almost becomes a ring, and or a diamond ring kind of feature. Like there is that aspect to it. I mean, it's possible. I don't remember explicitly seeing those colors. I mean, what happens near the sunset? It's the way most of the other lights get sort of like out of your range of your eyes, and so you see, for example, more reddish colors and things like that. In this case, it is still up in the atmosphere, so it's possible that actually that might have happened, but I did not notice that. But it's just the normalcy that comes back so quickly. It's hard to put that to mind, but for me, again, my memory of that, and we situated ourselves in a way where the lake was in front of us and the eclipse was on top, and so it was just beautiful because we were looking at, there was a small downtown area, there were lights that came out. Actually, my son, he noticed that. He was like, did you see those lights? And again, this is one of those things, I did not, but he noticed it. He was like, all those lights came out, and you could see those lights properly. This is middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's like 3:30. And again, those are the various things that you see where the sky is not fully dark, but it's like late evening.
Yeah.
It's like post-sunset, late evening, dark blue sky, and getting darker.
The light was indescribable to me. I'd never seen light like that. It looked ashy, it looked gray, but then after the totality, it felt like dawn.
Right, yes.
Like it did really look like the morning again, that was something I didn't expect. Did you have a lot of bugs come out where you were? We got bombarded by gnats and mosquitoes out of nowhere. Like right as the darker it started to get, I still have mosquito bites on my ankles from it.
Well, keep those bites, man. I mean, those are special bites. Those are the solar eclipse bites. So you should keep them. No, we did not notice those. And again, maybe those bugs that we were on that lake, they were smart enough. They were like, that's just...
We're not going to be fooled by this.
Exactly. But I did hear on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Nice.
Show,
yeah, it's one of my faves.
They were talking about that apparently spiders start to take down their webs when they think, oh, hey,
well, this must be the end of the universe.
It must be the nighttime, so let's take off the web. And that was so strange. It's in a few minutes, basically. But okay, all of that said, for honesty purposes, for clarification purposes, I should mention that when we started to drive down back to the valley, and we were actually staying on our way back in Hanover, which was about 100 miles from Newport, Vermont. And it took us 7 hours to get back.
We only hit traffic in Greenfield.
Oh.
Khalees navigated us. Okay, my wife had to come pick us up to rescue us because the car wasn't ready.
Right.
And then Khalees helped navigate us through the back roads of that Rutland area, and then we finally jumped on 91, and then there's traffic in Greenfield because of the construction.
So just to let you know, that 91 traffic that you hit on Greenfield, that was coming all the way from Newport, Vermont, and we were literally going about 20 miles an hour or less, bumper to bumper. And on the one hand, yes, it was crazy. Here is a shout out to Lyndonville, Vermont, and the hardworking people who were working at the only, I would say, the only store that was open to provide food, and that was a Subway. There were lines out the door of Subway. That was the only place that was open. And there were these young guys who were just working, and I was like, man, how is that? And the guy said, I was like, how are you guys doing? And the guy responded, he said, it makes me feel alive. And I have to say, that must have been the most delicious Subway sandwich I've had, and my son and my wife, because that was the only thing that was open, and there were no hope to get to other places. And then we finally got there. And so, two things I would say to that. One, that did not diminish the Eclipse experience, and we kept on. I was like, yeah, sure, who cares?
Yeah.
7 hours.
You're not going to really remember sitting in traffic for 7 hours.
But the other thing is, I mean, I was thinking about that, but isn't it amazing, if you think about it, that so many people came out to see this celestial phenomena that happened for a few minutes, and we were all part of that.
Yeah.
It also made me a little bit sad that we don't have public transportation, that we were all driving cars, and of course, polluting the environment. Nevertheless, this is one of those things where, and by the way, funny, Eclipse or bust. I saw painted on back of a car. There were other funny stickers. But in some sense, it also gives me faith in humanity, because, we are all busy looking at the phones. If you have even 5 minutes, you or 1 minute, and you go like, I'm bored, I want to look at the phone. But here, people actually came from many different places. I met many people over there in Newport, Vermont, that just came to look at the moon pass in front of the sun in its orbit, as it has done for billions of years, and yet it was a spectacular show.
Did NASA or any astronomers that you know of learn anything from this particular eclipse, or was, as you say, it is an uncommon occurrence for us to witness it, but it is not an uncommon phenomenon?
No, they had a lot of plans regarding that, including citizen science. So they had actually asked a lot of amateur astronomers as well to look at, because as the eclipse comes in, so this eclipse started in Mexico, and then basically it went through Texas and across the US and up to Vermont and then into Canada. So they were asking amateur astronomers to take pictures, to take data all the way through, because you can still tell differences on these shorter time frames, because the corona of the sun, these prominences, these do change over a short period of time. So that is just one thing. There was also scientific planes that were going over there.
Could you take a scientific plane and follow the whole path of totality the whole time?
But it goes very fast. You cannot really.
Oh, so you couldn't try to. No.
You cannot stand with it. I mean, you cannot keep up with it. But otherwise, people do try it. So you can do for a little bit. But again, the speeds and all of that stuff all gets very high. But the next thing I'm going to say, Monty, again, don't tell anyone. But I have started to make plans for the one. So there is a total eclipse in 26. That's going to be Russia, Greenland, Iceland, and northern Spain, touching a little bit on in Portugal. That's going to be about 2 minutes or so. But I have started making plans for the one on, I think it's on August 2nd, 2027. And that is going through Gibraltar and Morocco, then Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. But on Egypt, it's passing right on top of Luxor.
Whoa! Oh, this is it.
And I should mention, I shouldn't mention, so don't tell anyone because I don't want everybody to be cramming over there. It's going to be 7.5 minutes long. I mean, this was 3.5 minutes, and it was, wonderful. That's going to be 7.5 minutes long. I don't think we'll shoot for Luxor because I think everybody in the world is going to be there. It's going to be incredible, and it's like on a lot of people's bucket lists as well. But I'm thinking, and this is also in areas where the likelihood of clouds is very low.
Right. But the likelihood of like mummies or the Egyptian gods reaping their wrath against you and us during that eclipse, I think real high.
Worth it. Totally worth it. But it is the thing. I've already looked at weather maps, in terms of their average cloudiness and things like that. So this actually looks pretty good. I think, and I tried to look for hotels as well, but unfortunately they don't reserve it 3 years in advance. But I think we are looking for probably, I've always wanted to go to Tunisia, never been there, or Algeria. So I think we'll be looking for Algeria or Tunisia. So August 2nd.
I have been to Luxor, and
Me too.
it is amazing.
It is amazing, and it's beautiful. When we went there, it was off season, and we stayed at a place that was right next to the Nile. And we took felucca, it's just a magical place. But it was not crowded when we went. And in fact, we went there actually right before the Arab Spring started. In fact, we were there about 2 weeks before the Arab Spring. But Luxor is going to be incredible.
Okay, 2027 Fabulous 413 field trip, Tunisia.
August 2nd.